The galaxy was not a quiet place. There were wars, trade deals, pirate raids, and endless arguments between alien empires. Signals traveled across the stars every second, carrying news, orders, and threats. But on this night, one strange report began to spread. A scout ship from the Velari Alliance had seen something. Something too big, too slow, and too silent to be normal. Their captain, a tall insectoid with silver eyes, stared at the readings. The object was not in any database. No record in the history of known ships matched it. "It's just an asteroid," one officer said, trying to laugh. But the laughter was thin and nervous. Asteroids didn't move with perfect course corrections. Asteroids didn't give off energy signatures like this. They magnified the image, and for a moment, nobody spoke. The object was shaped like a warship, but not like any warship they had ever seen. Its hull was black, drinking in the light of nearby stars, its outline sharp like a blade, and along its side, faint glowing lines pulsed like the heartbeat of a sleeping monster. The crew zoomed in further, and that's when they saw it. Painted in massive white letters, words in the human language. The translators clicked and displayed the meaning on every screen in the bridge. HSS Titan. Silence spread across the deck. Every officer frozen, some because they had never heard of humans building anything larger than a cruiser. Others because they had heard old whispers and smuggler bar stories of a ship called Titan that was never supposed to exist. The captain tapped his mandibles, his mind racing. Humanity had been quiet for decades. They had refused to join galactic wars, refused to expand far from their homeworld. They were called isolationists, peaceful and irrelevant. But what if they had been building this? In secret, the Titan moved with slow, deliberate grace, its engines barely glowing. Yet every reading showed impossible power. The weapon systems? There were too many to count. Hundreds of turrets, missile bays, and strange, unknown structures. Along its spine, one junior officer whispered, "Why is it here?" No one answered. The Velari captain opened a secure channel to high command, his voice low. "We have sighted something," he said, then hesitated before adding, "Recommend immediate fleet deployment." High command demanded more information. So the captain sent them the live feed, moments later. Every high-ranking officer in the Alliance was watching the same dark shape glide through space. They didn't know that other ships had already seen it too. Traders, pirates, even a patrol from the rival Drashk Empire, and those crews were also sending the footage home within an hour. The Titan's image was in every military command center. Across the galaxy on the alien bridge, the crew argued in hushed voices. "It's just a deterrent." One said, "It can't be that dangerous." Another replied, "Look at it, don't think anyone builds something that size for show?" The captain said nothing, his compound eyes locked on the ship. He ordered the scout ship to hold position and shadow the Titan from a safe distance. But as they followed, something strange happened. The Titan slowed, almost as if it knew it was being watched. Its massive hull casting a shadow over the scout ship even though they were kilometers apart. Then, without turning its guns, without sending a signal, it simply drifted right into their path. The Velari crew felt it then, a deep, instinctive fear. Not from a weapon being fired, but from the feeling that they had just stepped in front of a predator inside the Titan. Human officers moved calmly, checking readouts, adjusting power levels. Their captain, an older man with sharp eyes and a quiet voice, stood in the center of the command deck. "Maintain course," he said. "Let them see us. No threats, no warnings, just the slow advance of a giant." The Velari ship pulled away, but the image of the Titan stayed burned into every crew member's mind, far away on the homeworlds of many empires. Leaders began receiving the same report, same image, same name, and in every room, the reaction was the same silence. For centuries, the galaxy had laughed at humans, called them weak, primitive, slow to adapt, but now something had changed. The Titan wasn't a rumor anymore. It was real, and it was here. And for the first time in a long time, the galaxy began to wonder if humanity had been quiet, not because they were harmless, but because they were waiting for the right moment to show the truth. The captain of the Velari scout ship gave one final order before setting a new course: record everything. He said, history will remember this night. Outside, the Titan continued forward. Silent, unstoppable, like a storm approaching from beyond the edge of the stars. The crew could feel it in their bones. Whatever was coming next would change everything. Asterisk, the image of the Titan spread faster than light, from one relay station to another. From smugglers' dens to royal palaces, in less than a day, every major power in the galaxy had seen it. Some dismissed it as a human propaganda trick. Others knew better. On the Velari homeworld, the High Command gathered in their great chamber. Giant screens showing the massive black silhouette of the Titan drifting through space. The Velari fleet admiral clicked his mandibles. If this is real, he said, then we may be facing a weapon that changes the balance of power in the Drashk Empire. A reptilian warlord slammed his clawed hand on the table. Humans are ants, he growled. This is just a toy meant to scare us. But his voice trembled as he watched the footage again. The smaller nations reacted with fear, remembering ancient trader warnings about human warships centuries ago. Some merchant captains had whispered stories about ghost ships that could tear fleets apart in minutes. Nobody had believed them until now. Among the pirate clans, the news caused chaos. Half of them began abandoning human trade routes. Not wanting to risk meeting the Titan, the other half wanted to find out if the ship was carrying treasure or advanced tech worth stealing. They wouldn't get the chance. Every intelligence network in the galaxy sent agents to investigate. Some tried to bribe human diplomats. Others tried to intercept Earth's communications, but nothing came back. The humans were silent inside. The Titan, the crew was calm. The massive ship glided through the darkness with purpose. The human captain stood at the main console, studying the incoming reports of alien fleet movements. They're watching us, his first officer said. Good, the captain replied. Let them in a hidden communications bunker on Mars. Human strategists tracked the growing panic across the galaxy. They didn't send threats, didn't give explanations. They simply allowed the Titan to be seen. The Velari scout ship, still shadowing the Titan from a distance, recorded every movement. But the alien crew began to notice something strange. The Titan's path wasn't random. It was heading toward a disputed star system known as Calrose 9, a place claimed by 3 different empires. Calrose 9 was a powder keg. Fleets from the Drashk, Velari, and Targan syndicate often faced off there, exchanging warning shots but never engaging in full battle. Now, the arrival of a human supership could push the situation into open war. When the alien governments realized this, secret councils were held. Messages flew between leaders. Do we confront the humans or let them pass? No one could agree on a distant moon. A small-time smuggler named Relka was telling the story to anyone who would listen. I saw it with my own eyes. He told a crowded bar, bigger than any station, darker than space itself, and the guns. Stars above, the guns looked like they could split a planet. The bar went silent. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, military analysts ran simulations in every one of them. A single Titan-class ship could destroy entire fleets before taking serious damage. Some analysts even suggested that if humanity had more than one, they could conquer the galaxy in months. Back on the Titan, the crew received a transmission request from the Velari flagship. Unidentified human vessel, the alien voice said. State your purpose in this sector. There was no reply. The Velari repeated the message, and again, nothing. It was as if the humans were deliberately ignoring them. This made the alien officers uneasy. Some believed it was arrogance. Others thought it was a calculated move to show that the Titan didn't need to explain itself to anyone. In the Drashk capital, the warlord paced his command chamber. "If they are coming to Calrose 9, he hissed, "we will meet them there." But his advisors urged caution, pointing out that attacking first might provoke Earth into a war they could not win. The galaxy's political channels became a storm of speculation. Some called for an alliance to counter the human threat. Others secretly considered joining Earth's side if it meant survival. Then, without warning, the Titan changed its communications silence. A single transmission was sent out not to one ship, but to every vessel in the system. It was short, only one sentence, and the voice was calm. "Maintain your distance." No threats, no demands. Yet the message carried weight. Alien captains, who had been inching closer, suddenly ordered their ships back. For the first time in years, fleets from rival empires in Calrose 9 pulled away from each other. All eyes now fixed on the human giant drifting closer to the disputed system in the halls of power across the galaxy. Leaders began to wonder if the Titan was not just a warship, but a signal, a warning that humanity was stepping onto the galactic stage in its own way, and no one knew what would happen when it reached its destination. The Titan drifted toward Calrose 9 like a shadow stretching across the stars, its massive form filling every scanner screen of every ship in the sector. Fleets that had been facing off for years now floated apart, their captains too focused on the approaching giant to worry about old enemies on the Velari flagship. The captain adjusted his comms panel, his voice firm but cautious. "Unidentified human vessel. You are entering a contested system. State your purpose." His words echoed on the bridge. But the Titan gave no answer. The silence was heavy, pressing on the minds of the crew. Some officers shifted in their seats, their antennae twitching. Others stared at the viewscreens, unwilling to look away from the black monster that filled the void. They tried again, this time routing the message through every frequency. "Human vessel. Identify yourself." Still nothing. Then, without warning, the Titan's forward gun batteries began to rotate. Slowly, deliberately, until the largest barrel aligned perfectly with the Velari flagship. The alien crew froze, not because the weapon had fired, but because they knew without a doubt that it could, and if it did, they would not have time to react. On other ships across the system, captains were reporting the same thing. The Titan's guns were tracking multiple targets at once, each movement smooth, almost lazy, but filled with purpose. Inside the Titan's bridge, human officers worked in silence, their consoles glowing softly in the dim light. The captain, standing at the center, spoke quietly. "Lock targets, but do not engage." His voice was calm, almost bored, but his crew understood the weight behind his words. The Velari captain's mandibles clicked nervously. "They are aiming," his weapons officer whispered, but still not firing. Then, finally, the human ship spoke, a deep, steady voice filling every channel at once. "Unidentified vessel, you have violated restricted space. Turn back immediately." The translation appeared instantly on alien screens. The meaning simple, but the tone carried something more. It was not a request. It was an order. On the Drashk warships, the reptilian commanders laughed bitterly. "They dare give us orders." One hissed, but even as he spoke, his claws tapped nervously on the armrest. The Targan syndicate, known for arrogance, didn't laugh. They remembered old trade disputes where humans had refused to be intimidated, and they knew the species had a history of acting when pushed too far. On the Velari flagship, the captain debated his options. If they turned back, it would be seen as weakness. If they advanced, they might be destroyed. In the end, pride made the choice. "Send a reply," he ordered. "We are not leaving." The message was sent, a defiant challenge in alien speech, but the Titan did not answer. Instead, its massive hull shifted slightly, aligning even more. Weapons on the Velari ship, one by one. Alien crews realized that every movement, every turn of the Titan's guns was a silent reply, far away. In the hidden human command bunker on Mars, intelligence officers watched the scene unfold in real time. A senior strategist leaned toward the screen. "They're testing us," he said. "Let's see how far they go." Back in Calrose 9, smaller. Alien ships tried to creep closer, thinking perhaps the Titan's attention was locked on the main fleets. But the moment they crossed an invisible boundary, their systems flickered, shields weakened. Engines stuttered, communications failed. Panic spread among them. They retreated quickly, not knowing how the Titan had disabled them without firing a visible shot. The Velari captain realized this was no bluff. "They control the field," he whispered to himself. "Look, we are already inside their range." Then, for the second time, the Titan spoke. "This is your only warning." The words were like ice over the comms, calm but absolute. For the first time in living memory, the three empires in Calrose 9 made the same decision without speaking to each other. Their fleets began to back away, slowly, carefully, as if afraid to make a sudden move. The Titan did not follow. It simply held position, its massive form unshaken in the bars, markets, and meeting halls across the galaxy. The story of that transmission began to spread. Some exaggerated it, claiming the Titan's voice could shake a ship apart. Others swore they saw entire fleets turn and run. But the truth was stranger. The Titan had not destroyed anyone, had not fired a single real shot, yet it had forced the most aggressive empires in the galaxy to retreat. The Velari captain, still shaken, gave one last order before leaving the war. "System, keep them on sensors for as long as you can," he said. "The galaxy needs to know where they go next, and deep within the Titan." The human captain watched the fleets withdraw, his expression unreadable. "They will talk," his first officer said quietly. "They already are," the captain replied. "That's exactly what we want, because sometimes the right words spoken at the right time could be more powerful than the loudest gun." The Titan held its position like a mountain in space. Unmoving, silent, unshaken, the alien fleets had pulled back. But not everyone was willing to leave without answers. In the Velari High Command chamber, voices argued over each other. "It's just one ship," one admiral said. "It can be destroyed." Others disagreed, pointing out that no one had ever seen anything like it. In the Drashk Empire, the warlord slammed his claws on the table. "If we run now, the humans will think we are weak." His generals shifted uneasily. They knew he was right about pride, but wrong about the risk. In the end, a plan formed between the three rival empires: send a small, fast strike force to test the Titan's response. They would not commit their main fleets, only their most advanced interceptors, designed to move so fast that even automated defenses could not lock on in time. The order went out, and within an hour, 12 sleek alien ships broke formation and began to accelerate toward the Titan. From a distance, the smaller ships looked like streaks of silver against the darkness, their engines burning bright, closing the gap in seconds on the Titan's bridge. Human officers watched the incoming signals. 12 targets, high-speed, evasive patterns, one reported. The captain did not raise his voice. "Engage." No alarms sounded, no giant cannons lit up the darkness. Instead, the Titan's defense grid came alive silently. Dozens of hidden ports along the hull sliding open, revealing strange, slender barrels that glowed faintly blue before the alien pilots even realized they were being targeted. Invisible railgun rounds sliced through the void, moving faster than their sensors could track from the Velari flagship. It looked almost unreal. The interceptors were there 1 second, and the next, they were clouds of drifting debris. It's not a single explosion, just silence. Alien crews stared at their scanners in disbelief. "What happened?" one officer asked. they didn't even fire. Another replied, but deep down, they knew the truth they had fired. The aliens had simply never seen weapons that fast. The Drashk warlord's voice cracked with anger and fear. They erased them. In under 3 seconds, the Velari admiral felt the cold weight of reality, if that was only their defensive response. What happens when they attack? Inside the Titan, the human weapons officer reported calmly, "Targets neutralized." The captain gave a single nod, a return to standby. The crew moved with quiet efficiency. There was no celebration. No boasting. It was as if swatting down the fastest alien ships in the galaxy was just another routine drill. But for the alien fleets, the destruction of their elite strike force was a warning. And it was not subtle in the Targan syndicates. Command ship, their leader gripped the armrest with trembling hands. "That was a message," he muttered. Some captains ordered their ships even farther back. Doubling the safe distance, others began sending encrypted messages to their home governments, urging immediate negotiations with Earth. Yet a few stubborn voices remained. It was just luck, they claimed, or maybe a trick. But no one truly believed it in the galactic news networks. Leaked footage of the encounter began to circulate. Shaky images from long-range sensors showing the Titan erasing the interceptors without warning. The public reaction was mixed fear, awe, and disbelief all at once on mining colonies. Workers stopped what they were doing just to watch the recordings over and over in military academies. Instructors used the footage as a lesson. This is why you don't underestimate an unknown ship. The Titan, however, continued to move slowly toward the heart of Cal Rose 9. Its massive shadow swallowing starlight back in the human command bunker on Mars. Intelligence officers were reading intercepted alien transmissions. "They're panicking," one said with a faint smile. "Good," the strategist replied. "Fear will slow them down more than any weapon." In the Velari fleet, the captain who had first seen the Titan spoke to his officers quietly. "We tested it, and now we know," he said. "But the real question is, how many more do they have?" That thought spread through the galaxy like wildfire. If humanity had one Titan, it was a threat. If they had several, it was an unstoppable force. And if they had been hiding this one for decades, what else were they hiding? The Drashk warlord, for all his pride, finally gave the order to pull his fleet out of the contested zone. "We will not win this fight," he admitted, his voice heavy. "Not today. The Targan syndicate soon." Followed, leaving only a few Velari ships to shadow the Titan. Too afraid to get close, but too curious to leave completely. The Titan had passed through Cal Rosnine without being stopped. It had defeated the fastest ships the empires could send, and now it drifted into open space beyond the disputed system. The alien fleets still kept their distance, but their eyes never left the giant. Some followed in silence, some hid far away, but tracked every movement with deep scanners. On the Titan's bridge, the human captain stood with his arms folded, his crew working quietly around him. "They're listening," his first officer said. "Every channel is open, every sensor pointed at us." The captain nodded. "Good," he replied. "Then it's time." A signal order went out across the Titan. Communications officers activating a broadcast system that reached beyond normal fleet channels. This was not a local message. This was something every ship, station, and planet in the surrounding sectors could receive. And then, without any prelude, the voice of the Titan spoke, deep, calm, and clear. "This is the HSS Titan of the Terran Defense Fleet." The voice said, "We are not here to conquer. We are not here to bargain. We are here only once. Do not force us to return." The words rolled across the stars, carried through every comm array. Picked up by pirate radios, military satellites, and even civilian entertainment bands. No one could avoid hearing it. On the Velari flagship, the captain froze in his seat. the meaning of the words sinking deep. In the Drashk Empire's war chamber, generals exchanged uneasy glances. In the Targan Syndicate's council hall, leaders whispered among themselves. On a mining colony far from Calrose 9, workers stopped their drills to listen. A child tugged at her father's sleeve. "Papa, what's a Titan?" she asked. The father did not answer. In the slums of a pirate station, smugglers replayed the message over and over. Some laughed nervously. Others packed their bags, deciding that any trade routes near human space were no longer worth the risk. Back in the human command bunker on Mars, the strategists watched as the galaxy reacted in real time. They monitored message boards, intercepted encrypted transmissions, and read panic-filled reports from alien military outposts. Some alien governments tried to dismiss the broadcast, calling it human arrogance. But their own captains knew the truth. One ship had already shown what it could do without even trying. On the Titan, the crew held their course. The captain, giving no further explanation, the lack of details was deliberate. The less the aliens knew, the more they would fear. As the message replayed itself automatically in different languages across the galaxy, political meetings began everywhere. In the Velari High Command, some officers pushed for diplomacy. Others demanded that the Titan be tracked until it left known space. The Drashk warlord paced his war room like a caged animal. "They insult US," he growled, "but they have earned my respect." Even he could not deny that a single human warship had forced his empire to back down, something no enemy had done in generations. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens across alien worlds spoke of the humans with a new kind of caution. The jokes about primitive Earth became rarer. The mocking tone replaced with an unspoken question: what else could they be hiding? Somewhere in deep space, a group of independent traders listened to the broadcast in silence. Finally, one said, "They didn't say they have only one Titan?" The others looked at each other, realizing the same chilling possibility. In the Velari Fleet's Situation Room, an officer pointed at the map. "They're moving deeper into neutral space, but look at their heading. They could be going toward the Orion Gate." The Orion Gate was one of the most valuable hyperspace junctions in the galaxy, and if the Titan reached it, it could block or control trade for thousands of systems. The Velari admiral frowned. "They don't even need to hold it," he said. "They only need to pass through and leave the threat hanging over us forever." On the Titan's bridge, communications officer reported that the broadcast had reached every major listening post in 100 light-years. The captain only said, "Good, then our work here is done." But his words didn't match his actions. The Titan wasn't turning back. It was still moving forward. From the alien point of view, this was worse than an attack. An attack had limits. An attack could be stopped, but this was a shadow that kept moving, and no one knew where it would stop. On the Drashk flagship, a younger officer asked his commander, "Sir, should we pursue them?" The commander shook his head slowly. "Do you want to be the first name?" On their target list, the Targan Syndicate began issuing secret evacuation orders for some of their border worlds closest to human space. The official reason given to the public was routine defense exercises, but the truth spread quickly. In the Velari capital, civilian broadcasts debated the meaning of the Titan's words. Was it a warning to the galaxy, or to a specific enemy? Some believed it was a way for Earth to declare itself a major power without firing a single shot. And far away, on Earth itself, ordinary humans went about their lives unaware that their ship had just changed the balance of power across the stars. Only a handful of leaders and military officers truly understood that history had shifted. The Titan, still dark and silent, except for its slow pulse of running lights, moved on, carrying its message in the minds of billions. The Titan moved deeper into neutral space, its dark hull swallowing the starlight. Leaving a trail of silence behind it, the fleets that had once fought over Calrose 9 had withdrawn completely. Patrol routes shifted, and entire sectors that had been war zones only days ago were now calm. It was as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath in the Velari capital. Military briefings grew shorter. There was less to report. Pirate raids dropped sharply. Border skirmishes almost stopped. Even the smugglers seemed quieter. No one wanted to draw attention while the Titan was still out there. Across the Drashk Empire, the warlord ordered his ships to remain on defensive positions. This was unheard of. The Drashk were known for constant expansion. But now they moved carefully, always checking their scanners before entering disputed space. On the Targan Syndicate's trade routes, merchant convoys began to run without escorts. Not because the pirates had been defeated, but because the pirates themselves were staying home. They had seen what happened to the fast interceptors and decided they didn't want to be the next example. News networks played the Titan's broadcast. Again and again, analysts debated its meaning. Some claimed the humans were bluffing. Others warned that the ship was only a glimpse of a much larger fleet in private. Leaders of the great empires admitted something they would never say in public. They were afraid. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's great powers all hesitated at the same time in the mining colonies on the edge of known space. Workers joked that even the stars seemed quieter. Their comms picked up fewer distress calls, fewer military signals, only the steady hum of long-range beacons. Some said it felt like the days before a great storm, the kind where the air was still and heavy on the Velari flagship. The captain who had first spotted the Titan sat in his quarters, reviewing every second of the footage, pausing often at the image of the ship's name painted across its side. HSS Titan, he whispered, as if saying the name too loudly might summon it. He knew it wasn't just the weapons. It was the way the humans used them or didn't use them. They had shown only enough power to make the galaxy think, and in many ways, that was more dangerous than open war. In the Drashk Empire's war chamber, the warlord sat in silence, his generals waiting for orders. Finally, he spoke. "We will not engage the humans," he said. "Not unless we have no other choice." The room was stunned. Drashk leaders never chose caution, but the message was clear. The Titan's journey continued. But no one knew where it was going. Some fleets tried to track it, but they always kept far back, never crossing the invisible line that marked the point of no return. A rumor began to spread among the smaller worlds. They said the Titan could appear anywhere, at any time, and that its guns could reach across entire star systems. No one knew if this was true, but the fear made it feel real. In a quiet port on the far edge of the galaxy, a retired smuggler told a group of young pilots, "You don't understand. The humans don't have to fight us. They just have to let us imagine what they could do." The younger pilots laughed. But the smuggler did not join them. Even within human space, the effect was felt. Neighboring worlds began sending friendly envoys to Earth, offering trade and mutual defense agreements. Some of these worlds had once refused any human presence. Now they spoke of cooperation and respect. In the human command bunker on Mars, the strategists watched this change with satisfaction. "They're policing themselves now," one said, "all because of a single ship back on." The Titan, the captain, listened to the reports coming in from Allied intelligence agents. "The galaxy is quiet," his first officer said, "quieter than I've ever seen it." The captain looked out through the wide viewing port, stars drifting past like grains of sand. "It won't last forever," he said. "But for now, this is enough." In the Velari High Command, some officers argued that the quiet was dangerous. A predator that hunts silently is harder to predict. One warned, others countered that a quiet galaxy meant fewer losses, fewer widows, fewer destroyed worlds. The truth was that the Titan had changed the rules without asking anyone's permission. The empires were used to showing strength through fleets, through territory, through battles won. but the humans had shown strength through presence alone. The day the Titan appeared was the day the galaxy learned that silence could be louder than war. And as it moved into the darkness beyond known borders, the question hung in every mind, was the Titan leaving for good? Or was it only making a circle, preparing to return when the galaxy forgot to be afraid? The Titan had been moving without pause for weeks. Its slow and steady path, carrying it beyond the contested sectors, past the last of the border patrols, into deep space where no empire claimed ownership. For many, its departure was a relief. Fleets returned to their posts, trade routes reopened, and news channels began to focus on other events. Yet the silence it left behind was heavy, as if everyone knew that peace could vanish the moment the Titan turned back. In the Velari capital, the High Command declared the Titan no longer a direct threat, but in private meetings, officers argued over how to prepare if it came again in the Drashk Empire. The warlord ordered the construction of new fortresses along the edges of their territory. His pride would not allow him to admit it, but he feared what one human ship had done to his fleets without firing more than a handful of shots. The Targan syndicate began secret negotiations with human diplomats, offering trade rights in exchange for mutual understanding. The offer was accepted, but the humans revealed nothing about the Titan's future movements on the Titans bridge. The crew operated in their usual quiet rhythm. No victory celebrations, no speeches. Just the smooth work of professionals who knew their mission was not over. The captain stood with his hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the starfield ahead. They think we're leaving for good, his first officer said. The captain's lips curved slightly. Let them think that. The ship's course shifted subtly, turning toward a region of uncharted space known only in old human records as the Outer Deep, an area filled with ancient debris fields and dead worlds. Alien scouts who had been shadowing the Titan noticed the change and quickly sent the information back to their governments. Some believed the humans were hiding the ship there. Others feared they were meeting with allies unknown to the galaxy. Days later, in the middle of this empty region, the Titan came to a full stop. No signals, no movement, no explanation, just silence. Then, without warning, a single high-band broadcast went out, not only to the nearby fleets, but to every major listening post in the galaxy. This is the HSS Titan, the calm human voice said. Remember what you have seen, remember what you have heard. And know this: what you witnessed was not our largest ship. The message ended. No threats, no demands, no coordinates. Only the heavy weight of those words echoing across the stars on the Velari flagship. The captain felt his mandibles tighten. His crew stared at each other, whispering, not their largest. The idea sent a chill through them in the Drashk war chamber. The warlord slammed his fist into the table, not in anger this time, but in frustration at the realization that all their power meant nothing against a force even greater than the Titan in the Targan syndicate. Traders who had once mocked human ships now spoke the name Titan in low voices, afraid to draw attention from a power they could not measure. Across the galaxy, fear returned stronger than before. If the Titan was not the largest, then what did the largest look like? How powerful was it? Where was it kept? And what would happen if the humans decided to send it in the mining colonies? Workers repeated the words like a ghost story. Not their largest ship, they said, as if reminding each other to stay cautious. In pirate havens, leaders began drawing new maps, marking human space as a place to avoid completely. Even the most daring raiders refused to test the unseen limits of Earth's power on the Titan. The captain watched the stars slowly drift as the ship prepared for a jump into a hidden corridor of space. Message delivered, the communications officer confirmed. Good, the captain said. Now we disappear. A hum filled the ship as the jump drive activated, light bending around the massive hull. Then, in a flash, the Titan was gone. leaving only empty space where it had been. For weeks afterward, alien scanners searched for any sign of it. Fleets patrolled possible exit points, but no trace was found. Some believed it had returned to Earth. Others claimed it had gone beyond the edge of the galaxy into places no star charts reached. In the Velari High Command, one young officer asked his admiral, "Sir, what do we do if they come back?" The admiral paused for a long time before answering, "We hope they don't, and so." The galaxy returned to its uneasy peace, but it was a different peace than before. Every empire now carried a shadow in its mind, a thought they could not erase. The Titan had been only one ship, one mission, one warning, and somewhere, perhaps hidden in the cold darkness of space, something larger waited. The day might come when it crossed the stars. And if that day came, the galaxy would remember the silence that followed the Titan and understand that the storm had only been sleeping.